how much betting do you generally want to play in this spot theoretically? Let's test your theory. Like, what's the bet frequency in GTO land for the small blinds range on Deuce 5?
I would say quite small.
Yeah. So 5-7's probably going to mostly check and occasionally bet in theory. In real life, I don't hate betting small because your hand's super vulnerable, and I don't hate checking. My instinct is that check might outperform bet here, just because people are too stab happy. You'll probably see that when you check blind versus blind here, they stab a lot, and check call is just a really nice line with this hand. So yes, you're giving away a bit of free equity realization when you check, but because they're going to bet queen jack like arbitrarily, you might still just want to check call here, right, as an exploit. What are your thoughts on... Okay, so we bet the flop. What are your thoughts on this turn spot?
I feel like, I don't know, it looks good. I think it kind of looks good for our hand because we've got the spade flush draw. I think the range that they call with is probably not going to do too bad on this turn.
So let's be a bit more to the point here. Does your hand have enough equity to value bet?
I don't think so.
How much equity do you think your hand has, if you had to guess?
60%. I don't think it's quite high.
Yeah, I think it's higher than 60.
Right, okay.
Because not only do you have like a ton of redraw, you can hit a 5 when you're behind. If villain has 6s, you can hit a 7. There's a little bit of redraw going on, and there's all the flush outs. But moreover, this is blind versus blind, and you have just c-bet the flop 1/3 and they've called. So if you look at what they actually have to call here in theory, they have to call all kinds of jack high and queen high and king high and ace high. So actually in blind versus blind universe, on a low innocuous board like this, most people have nothing most of the time. Like 2 over cards is still a massive part of their range. And by betting small here, you definitely get enough value and protection. So I think you can even size up here and like B60 the turn or something, but you can certainly block the turn. I don't think check's bad or anything, but I just want you to realize that you have enough equity to value bet the spot, right? You can value bet the spot. I think check call's a viable line as well. It's definitely going to be fine. But this is not just showdown value blind versus blind, because a 5 plus a flush draw, while that would just be a check back if you were hijack versus big blind or something, it would not be, you know, a value bet at all. You have to remember that ace high has to like call twice here and stuff, blind versus blind. King queen might have to call twice here. The small size is blind versus blind, so there's a lot of value bet potential here. Okay, easy call. I'm calling. Don't fold to half pot river bets by recreational players unless the texture is like egregiously bad or they're hyper filtered or whatever. This fold, and I'm not saying you're going to fold here, I don't know what you're going to do, but when people fold in this spot to a range that's not actually all that filtered, that's saying it has a queen, maybe it's saying it has like 8 sometimes, but it's, you know, it's repping like fairly thin here actually. And you only need 25%, you know, 1/4 of their range only can be bluffs here. They're going to be over bluffing, right? So these are the bread and butter nodes where wide villain range, lots of air combos still exist, minimal filtering. They're likely to be over bluffing here. So I really want to see a call here, guys. Pray for Jess. Pray for the call. It's like a Family Guy moment where it just doesn't end. Like the joke just goes on forever. We fold.
Oh my god. See, this is what I mean. I know in like theory, I probably should call that. In review after hands, I do kind of think, what the hell are you doing?
It's not so clear how we're losing here, right? It's not that clear. No, this is easily enough here for 25%. Easily. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be correct for us to call. So this spot I'm not really at all worried about because villain has arrived here with tons of bluffs, right? Because they have called 1/3 on the flop, or the result is always bad. It feels that way. It's not actually, right? Like if you win 30% here, you're printing. That's the thing to remember, Jess, right? You win 1/3 of the time you're printing. You don't win half the time. We're not saying this guy's gonna have a bluff here. We're just saying like you're not gonna lose 3/4 of the time. So in this spot, the reason I think they're bluffing more than 25% of the time is that when you bet the flop tiny on this board, they have to call myriad different like Jack 10, Queen 9, King 10 combos. Then on the 4 turn, there is incentive for them to bluff the Jack high, Queen high, King high, 10 high type stuff. 7-6, like whatever they floated flop with. And then on river, while their Queen X gets there, and that's like some air out of their range now, at these pot odds, while we normally lose, we don't lose 75% of the time. There's still enough air to give us 25% win. I'm a big station against fish half pot or lower. Very sticky against that. Because another thing you need to remember here is, what are they going to do if they have a deuce? What are they going to do if they have a boat?
If they have a boat, then they're going pot at least, if not just like jamming.
Yeah, or they're betting turn bigger in the first place, or they're raising flop, depending on the boat.